Hello everyone, I am Pratiyogitta. I have done MTech from NIT and I am Masters in Economics from Delhi School of Economics with various certification in economics. So guys, today we are going to discuss the paper of Prelims economics section. Okay, so I am going to give you brief analysis of the paper, but yes, we are going to discuss all the concepts that were important to solve these questions. Fine. So, and one more thing guys, I am solving test booklet number 3. I am solving test booklet number 3. So, let's get started. Okay. The first thing is, or the first question, that is question number 41, according to test booklet 3, it is consider the following statement. Statement 1 is that if United States of America were to default on its debt, holders of US Treasury bonds will not be able to exercise their claims to receive payment. Okay. So, statement number 1 is saying that if what happens that USA defaults on its debt, USA is not able to pay its debt, then what's going to happen? Then the holders of US Treasury bond, they will not be able to exercise their claim, they will not get their claim. Absolutely correct. This statement is absolutely correct. Statement 2, the USA government debt is not backed by any hard asset but only by the faith of government. By hard asset we mean you can say gold, or you can say silver, anything that has got substantial value. That's what hard asset means. Okay. So yes, this is also correct. The USA bonds are not backed by any hard asset, and when they are not backed by any hard asset, that means that if the US defaults on its debt, then what's going to happen? Then the treasury bond holders, they are not going to get their claims. So both these statements are correct, and if you look at it, then statement 2 is actually explaining that why statement 1 is there. Statement 2 is establishing the legitimacy of statement 1. So, option A will be correct, that both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 explains statement 1. So, that's what your first question was, and it was very easy question. Overall guys, this time the paper of economics was very easy. The questions were not very high conceptual, right? You could easily do the questions just by the basic clarity, and if you have studied the subject, you could have solved it. Let's talk about question number 2. It is saying consider the following statements. Statement 1 is that syndicated lending spreads the risk of borrower default across multiple lenders. Now, what is this term syndicated lending means? Understand, syndicated lending means it is actually a form of business where people, they form a syndicate. Let me say there are individuals A, B, C, D, E. So 5 people, they formed a syndicate. Now they are going to lend. Okay, they are going to lend money. Fine. But the thing here is that this lending will not be done only to a single individual, rather the lending will be done to more than 2 parties. 2 or more than 2 parties will be lended out the money with this syndicate. That means the syndicate is going to lend the money to 2 or more parties. But the loan agreement for all these parties will be same. So loan agreement will be same here. Multiple parties will be lended out on the same loan agreement, and these parties will perform different duties. So guys, since parties are performing different duties, there are multiple parties and they are on the same loan agreement. So the risk of the money getting defaulted, it reduces, it mitigates. Why? Because the risk gets distributed amongst various parties. So yes, statement 1 is correct. Second statement, it is saying that the syndicated loan can be a fixed amount or sum of fund, lump sum of funds, but cannot be a credit line. It cannot be a credit line. What is the meaning of credit line? Understand, credit line actually, this is a system that is followed between bank and its customers. I am just taking the example of bank because mainly it is followed between bank and its potential customers. So what happens is bank allots a credit line to its customer, and these customers, they can use the credit line. For example, if bank has given 50 lakh credit line to its customer, so the customer can withdraw the money from the bank up to 50 lakh. Okay, then again he can deposit, again he can withdraw, multiple times he can withdraw the sum up to 50 lakh. So that's what credit line is. Okay, the statement is saying that syndicated amount can be any fixed or lump sum amount but cannot be a credit line. So statement is false, because credit line is also included in syndicate lending, right? So statement 1 is correct, whereas statement 2 is incorrect. That means answer C. Okay, answer C is correct here. And in the previous question, option A is correct. Fine. Moving on. Third question is, it is saying consider the following statements in respect of digital rupee. So see guys, digital rupee is also a mode of payment and it has been launched by RBI. Fine. RBI has launched digital currency, digital rupee, digital currency, one and the same thing. Just like RBI prints notes, currency notes, in the similar manner it has launched digital notes or digital currency or digital rupee. Fine. So now it is saying it is a sovereign currency issued by the Reserve Bank of India in alignment with its monetary policy. Yes, it is a sovereign currency, it is issued by RBI in accordance to its monetary policy. Statement 1 is absolutely correct. Second is, it appears as a liability on RBI's balance sheet. So yes dear, understand one thing, in accounts, I am just going to brief it out. In accounts there is the system of balance sheet. On one side of balance sheet you write the liability and on another side you write the asset. Okay. Now see, when bank prints any currency note, so what actually, if you read on that note, what is written on the note? It is written that if someone is going to produce that note, let's say there is a note of 500 rupee. So see, actual value of note of 500, its actual value. What I mean by actual value? That if you sell the note, not in India but in some other country, so the value of the paper used, value of the ink involved, so the worth of that note will be 2 or 3 or 5 rupees at max. But in India, it is used for 500 rupees. Yes or no? So RBI promises you that if anyone produces this note of 500 rupee in front of RBI, then RBI will give purchasing power of rupees 500 to that individual. Getting my point? Yeah? So what is it? It is a liability for RBI. Yes or no? What is liability? Something that you have to pay off. Something that you have to pay off, not today but some day later, right or wrong? So some other day, some later day, you have to repay that thing. That's what liability is. So yes, it is a liability. Currency notes are liability. It is insured against inflation by its very design. Now see, this world is problematic. Digital currencies were designed and one purpose of that was to mitigate inflation. But there was no insurance given that it will suffice in mitigating inflation. So this statement is false. Fourth is, it is freely convertible against commercial bank money and cash. Yes guys, that's also correct. It is freely convertible. You can convert it. Fine. Just like you can convert your 500 rupee in the denomination of 100 or 50. Similarly, you can convert your currency or digital currency in the form of any other commercial bank note. Okay. Which of the statement above are correct? So 1 is correct, 2 is correct and 4 is correct. So option D is correct here. Fine. Moving on. The fourth question is, pay attention. It is saying that total fertility rate in an economy is defined as, now see guys, there is a specific definition of what fertility rate is in an economy. So the definition is, it is the average number of live births a woman would have by the end of her childbearing age. That means during her childbearing age, that means the time or age till which a woman can have child. In that age, number of live births, not dead births, when infant or newborn is alive when he is born, that's what live birth is. So how many live births a woman has given, right? That's what the fertility rate is. So it's very factual question and option D is correct. Okay, very easy. Next question, it is saying consider the following statements. In India, non-banking financial companies, it means NBFC, can access liquidity adjustment facility LAF of the RBI. See guys, first of all let's understand what is LAF. See, LAF is a facility given by Reserve Bank to scheduled commercial banks. So this is a facility given by RBI to scheduled commercial banks. I am writing commercial banks in short as CB. Now what is the meaning of scheduled commercial banks? See, this term scheduled means that such banks are listed in the Act 2, in the Schedule 2 of RBI Act 1934. Banks listed in the Schedule 2 of RBI Act 1934. Such banks are known as scheduled commercial banks. Fine. Now the question may rise that at that time, sir, India was not independent. They were not, these banks which we see today, they were not present at that time. Then how can we say that these banks are listed in the Schedule 2 of RBI Act? See guys, the thing is, in RBI Act, right, Schedule 2 of RBI Act, there are certain conditions mentioned. And if a bank, if a commercial bank follows those conditions, then that commercial bank is referred as scheduled commercial bank. And what's that condition is? It is that bank's paid up capital should be 5 lakh. Paid up capital should be 5 lakh. Okay. So LAF is the facility given to scheduled commercial bank. And what's this facility is about? This facility is that with the help of this scheduled commercial banks, they can borrow money from RBI. They can borrow money from RBI with the help of by lending out. Pay attention, I am going to repeat it again. What they can do is, with the help of this facility, they can keep their bonds, government bonds, that is government securities, as collateral with RBI, and then they can take loan from RBI. They can borrow the money from RBI. Okay. And this is known as repo, repurchase agreement under that. Or they can even lend out money to RBI. Yeah, they can even lend out money to RBI, and then it is known as reverse repo. But this facility, I will repeat once again, it is only for scheduled commercial banks. So it is saying NBFCs, no, it is not for NBFCs. Second is, in India, foreign institutional investors, FII, can hold the government securities. Yes, they can hold the government securities. Getting my point? So this statement is correct. Third is, in India, stock exchanges offer separate trading platform for debt. Yes guys, this option is also correct. That platform is known as WDM, that is wholesale debt market. WDM. So stock exchange offers that platform. So statement 2 and statement 3 both are correct. That means option D is correct. Clear? Fine. Next question. It is saying, in India, which of the following can trade in corporate bonds and government securities? Okay. So in India, which all can trade in corporate bonds and government securities? First option is insurance companies. Yes guys, insurance companies can trade in foreign bonds. Okay. Then is pension funds. So yes, pension funds can also trade in foreign bonds. Retail investors can also trade in government securities. Okay. So all three, insurance company, pension fund and retail investors, all three can trade in government securities, and trading means they can purchase and sell the government securities. That is what trading means. So 1, 2 and 3, all three are correct. So option D is the correct answer. Moving on. Next question is that consider ETF. ETF means exchange traded funds. Now understand guys, ETF are actually the financial instrument, and that's what it is asking even. Now the question is that what is financial instrument? So financial instrument is actually a real or a virtual document. Real means it can be on paper or in a soft copy. By virtual we mean that. It is a real or virtual document which is actually a legal agreement which involves any kind of monetary value. Right? For example, stock. It is a virtual or real, on paper or virtual agreement, financial agreement. It is legal agreement that you have invested in the stock of such company. Like bonds, all these are legal agreement, they are financial instruments. Getting my point or not? So ETFs are also the financial instrument. That means it is in the form of legal document. Okay, right? But what the thing with this is that you can trade ETF just like you can. What's the difference between ETF and mutual fund? You can trade ETF just like you trade stocks. Understood or not? So is it a financial instrument? Just told you that yes, it is actually a investment fund which can be traded as a stock. So it is in a written format, legal document. So it is a financial instrument. Second, motor vehicles. Motor vehicles, are they a legal document, written legal document? No, they are not. They can be traded, they are assets, but motor vehicles are guys non-financial assets. Okay. Whereas ETF, it is a financial instrument, it is a legal document. So no, motor vehicles are not. Then currency swap. What is the meaning of currency swap? See, currency swap is that if let's say you have to pay a interest, and you have to pay the interest in rupees. Now, if you convert that interest, and sometimes even the principal money that was borrowed, it can also be converted. Okay. So if you convert the interest into some other country, into some other currency, let's say you convert it into USA dollars. So the interest amount that was to be paid by you, you converted that interest amount into USDs. So what is happening? Currency swapping is occurring, but the value of the interest will remain same. Getting my point? Let's say you had to pay 83,000 INR, Indian National Rupee. Now, how much you have to pay? If you talk about dollars, so you have to pay $1,000 USDs. Okay. So that's what currency swap is. Yes, it is also a financial instrument. It is also a financial instrument. Getting my point or not? So if it is also a financial instrument, then option 1 and 3 are correct. Option D. Right. Option D, which is saying statement 1 and 3 are correct. That's your correct answer. Moving on, next question. Now a table is given to us and it is asking us that how many of the pairs are matched correctly. Okay. So first is storage of agricultural produce, and it is saying it is a secondary sector. Pay attention guys, it is not a secondary sector, it is a tertiary sector. Why? What is tertiary sector? Tertiary sector is that sector which involves with the services. Tertiary sector is all about services. It is about the transportation of services. Getting my point? It is about the services. So this is a service. You are storing it. Tell me, right or wrong? Yeah. Right. Tertiary sector is about distribution and provision of services. So yeah, this is wrong. Second, it is saying dairy farm. It is a primary activity, it is saying. So first of all, what is primary activity? Primary activities are those activities which involve extraction and production of raw materials from earth, directly related with earth. Extraction or production of raw materials from earth and even natural resources. So dairy farm, you are extracting it. So it is correct. Dairy farm is primary activity. Then it is saying mineral exploration. Mineral exploration, it is saying tertiary. No, you are extracting minerals from the earth itself. So it is a primary activity. It is not tertiary. It is rather primary. Okay. Then weaving cloth, it is saying secondary. Yes, it is correct. What is the meaning of secondary activity? See guys, in secondary activity or secondary sector, processing of raw materials, the raw materials that were produced in your primary sector, they are processed into final goods or products. So 2 are correct here. Yes or no? Here 2 are correct. So which option? Option B. Only 2 are correct. Moving on. Next question. It is saying, with reference to physical capital in Indian economy, consider the following pairs. Okay, you have to consider the following pairs with reference to, just a minute guys, yeah, had to open the question, yeah. So with reference to the physical capital, you have to consider these things. Okay, and you have to tell which is matched correctly. Now first of all we need to understand that what do we mean by physical capital or what. So pay attention guys, here working and fixed capital is also written. Let me just brief it out that what all these 3 are. If I talk about working capital, so actually working capital means amount of cash or other current assets, any current asset or cash that a business has available for all its current liabilities. Whatever the liabilities of business are, for that whatever cash or asset is available with the business, that is working capital. Understood? What is fixed capital? So it is actually the portion of total capital, okay, in which business has invested physical assets like factories, vehicles, machineries. These are fixed assets in which business has invested. These are the fixed capital. And what is physical capital? So physical capital is a man-made good, okay, and this man-made good assists in production. So physical capital, man-made good, assists in production. Fixed capital, money invested by business out of its total capital, which is fixed, like factories, vehicles, machines. And working capital, cash or current asset available with the company, which it can use to settle its any liability or any emergency that comes up. Getting my point? Now it is saying farmer's plough is working capital. No, it is not. It is produced by man. It is a physical capital. So this is wrong. Second, it is saying computer. So computer, it is invested by a business. Business has invested money in it. It is a fixed capital. Absolutely correct. Third is yarn used by weaver, and it is saying it is a fixed capital. No, it is not. Rather, yarn which is used by weaver, it is the working capital of it. Then petrol can be regarded as working capital. Absolutely. So how many options are correct? 2 options. 2 and 4 are correct. Only 2. So option B is correct here. Getting my point guys? Right. Moving on. Next is, it is saying with reference to the rules imposed by RBI while treating foreign banks, consider the following statement. It is saying that there is no minimum capital required for wholly owned banking subsidiaries. Now, first of all, understand it is saying treating foreign banks. So if you are talking about any foreign bank and that foreign bank has got what? Wholly owned banking subsidiaries. Wholly owned banking subsidiaries, it means, see, wholly owned subsidiaries, it can be banking or any other sector. It basically means that 100% ownership of that company or firm lies with the parent company or firm. Okay, wholly owned subsidiaries means that the 100% ownership of that firm lies with the parent firm. Getting my point or not? Right. So it is saying there is no minimum capital requirement for wholly owned banking subsidiaries. It is wrong. There is a minimum capital requirement. Second is, for wholly owned banking subsidiaries which are owned by foreign banks, in India, at least 50% of the board members should be Indian nationals. Yes, it is a compulsion that if a foreign bank is going to own wholly owned subsidiary here in India, so 50% of board of directors should be Indians. Okay, that's a rule. So option 2 is correct, 1 is wrong, right? Statement 1 is wrong, statement 2 is correct. So which option? Option B is correct here. Clear guys? Moving on, next question. It is saying with reference to corporate social responsibility rules, CSR rules in India. Now see guys, what are CSR rules or CSR models? See, CSR models or businesses are those companies which integrate their social and environmental concerns in their business operations. That means these companies are not only concerned with the major issue of profit maximization, that's what the main agenda of every firm is. Rather, they also are concerned with the social and economic concerns. That means if a factory is there, so due to that factory there will be some hazards created, some externality, negative externality will be there, some environmental issues will be there. So such businesses, they operate to reduce such issues as well. Okay, so these are known as CSR operated businesses. Getting my point or not? Right. So it is saying CSR rules specify that expenditure that benefit the company directly or its employees will not be considered as CSR, and it is absolutely correct because it is concerned with the social and environment. So it comes under the section 135 of this act. So it is correct. Option 2, CSR rules do not specify minimum spending on CSR. No, they specify. Okay, and it is 2% of the net profit over the preceding 3 years. 2% of profit over preceding 3 years. So the statement is wrong. So only statement 1 is correct. Only statement 1 is correct. So option A is correct here. Clear guys? Okay. Moving on to the last question of economics, and it says that with reference to Indian economy, collateral borrowing and lending of obligations are the instruments of, so CBLO. Collateral borrowing means that you have mortgaged something with the lending institution, and with respect to the value of the asset mortgaged by you, you get the money from the lending institution. That is collateral borrowing and lending operation. So it comes under which market? Guys, it comes under money market. First of all, the answer is money market here. Okay, so option C is the answer. But what is money market? Pay attention. Money market is actually a short term market. When I say short term, I mean that operations done here are less than 1 year. Under money market, the lending and everything is done, and it involves your commercial papers. Okay, commercial papers are involved, right? Then your treasury bonds, all these things are involved here. You have capital market also, which is a long term. Okay, and in bond market, you know, where bonds are traded, forex market, foreign exchange market, where different currencies of different nations are traded. Stock market, we know, equity market. So money market is the correct answer here. Okay, so we are done with the economic section. I hope you understood everything. It was a brief presentation, okay, but I tried to clarify your concepts. Thank you guys.